Hi, I'm Michael Skinner. We're here at High Falls State Park in the Piedmont region of Georgia. This time on Georgia Outdoors, we're going to explore some of Georgia's spectacular waterfalls and the recreational opportunities around them, including trout fishing. Coming up next.
Who is devoting a great deal of effort and resources to protecting Georgia's environment? The same company that helps maintain the environment inside your home. Georgia Power, proud sponsor of programming on GPTV.
Take one move ahead.
Woo!
Of all the wonders found in nature, the waterfall is one of our most popular. And some of the nation's most beautiful waterfalls are found right here in Georgia. Georgia's waterfalls offer something for everyone: nature lovers, sightseers, photographers, poets, and artists. History buffs enjoy learning about places like Anna Ruby Falls, named in honor of the beloved daughter of a Civil War colonel. Some look at waterfalls from another angle, as part of a powerful system in nature that can be harnessed. Yesterday's grist mills and today's power plants are fueled by the power of this fast-moving water. Using this natural resource, we built cities and laid foundations for commerce and industry in the state. One of the state's most popular and most powerful series of waterfalls tumble down Tallulah Gorge in the northeast corner of the state. Harnessed in 1913 with the construction of the Tallulah Falls Dam. These mighty falls can still be seen in their full glory during scheduled releases. In an agreement with Georgia Power, there are numerous scheduled water releases throughout the year, and when that happens, the gentle falls become giants again. Plunging over 600 feet in a series of 6 falls, the mighty Tallulah River is irresistible to kayakers, rodeo boaters, and sightseers alike. The rangers at Tallulah Gorge State Park can tell you when the next release is scheduled. The Cherokee word for tumbling waters, Amicalola, was given to the highest waterfall in Georgia. In fact, Amicalola is said to be the highest waterfall east of the Mississippi River. The falls tumble 729 feet from brink to pool. For a closer view and for your safety, use the observation decks. Every year, people are seriously injured and some even die from careless behavior around waterfalls. Stay on the trails and observation decks. The areas around the falls are especially deceiving and slippery. If you have seniors in the family or young children, Toccoa Falls is the ideal family outing. Located on Toccoa Falls College campus, this breathtaking freefall is also one of the easiest to visit. Toccoa is Cherokee for beautiful, and it certainly is appropriately named. Today, we were also lucky to see the spectacular rainbow. The photographer in me just couldn't resist. Today, we're in search of some other falls that are not as well known to look for adventure and perhaps learn a little along the way. We joined David Jensen, District Ranger with the Forest Service on the Tallulah District near Clayton. We began our tour at Becky Branch, an easy access waterfall about 5 minutes from Clayton, right off War Woman Road. It's a fairly easy hike, though a little steep at times, and you hike along the Bartram Trail, named after the famous naturalist, William Bartram.
Well, right now we've hiked up the Bartram Trail, and it's one of the most popular trails we have on the district. We're at Becky Branch Falls now, which is a very popular falls to hike to. The reason it's popular is the same reason I brought my family up here. I've got 2 young daughters, and it's a short hike off the road to bring them up here, and it's very close to the road and it's very scenic when we have enough water to provide a decent flow. We're extremely dry this year. We have a very high fire danger right now, so the water is running at a fraction of the amount it normally would, but it's popular because it's close. It's a fairly easy hike, but with the scenery around it, we have some real large hemlocks and some very large trees here that make it a popular site to go as far as what you hike through to get to the falls.
As a district ranger, David is responsible for anything that goes on in the National Forest on the Tallulah District. This area is bordered on the east with the designated wild and scenic Chattooga River, and on the west by another national treasure, the Appalachian Trail. In between is one of North Georgia's greatest trout fisheries, some excellent hunting, and many waterfalls, including Becky's Branch and the picturesque Minnehaha Falls. It's the Forest Service's job to balance the public's desire and demand to be in these beautiful places with the charge to protect these natural resources.
You have to balance local needs, local desires with a very large neighboring urban population that has totally different needs or priorities. If you study the history of Georgia, this area of the state was one of the last that was settled, and that was because of the natural barriers here. You had the Tula Gorge to the south of Rabun County. You had the Chattooga River on the east side. You had the mountains to the north and west. So Rabun County was one of the last areas settled in the state, and you really had to want to get here to settle in this part. So you had some very strong, independent, and conservative families move in here that settled the land and depended on the land for their food, their fiber, and they became a very independent community here from the outside world. And a lot of those folks still have a very strong ethic as far as using the land. It's a daily question, it's a daily challenge of how do we balance the charge to protect it, but make it available so someone can be in the middle of it.
As we continued our search for different waterfalls, we made our way to the Apple Valley Campgrounds, right in the middle of the Warwoman Wildlife Management Area. After a gentle hike from the campground, we came upon this beautiful and dangerous series of falls.
We're here at Sarah's Creek Falls, which is on Sarah's Creek, and you can tell, although the water flow is rather limited right now because of the dry season, this is an absolutely beautiful fall. It's been cut into the rock over millions and millions of years. You can actually see the pools that are along the falls here that have been carved out by both water erosion and the action of rocks being moved by the water to create these pools. Now, this particular area is not that accessible if you have small children, so you need to keep that in mind. But throughout the Tallulah Ranger District, there's about a dozen falls that you can visit that are very accessible. So get out there and take a look at them.
Our friend Kyle Burrow is a fisherman through and through. Sure, he loves waterfalls, especially if they can provide habitats for brookies. Well, no luck here, and besides, Kyle was eager to move on to our next site where the fishing is legendary.
Behind me is another great example of some of North Georgia's prettiest waterfalls. This happens to be Holcomb Creek Falls. We're still in the Tallulah Ranger District of the Chattahoochee National Forest. In just a minute, we're going to head downstream and try a little trout fishing with our friend Kyle Burrell of Unicoi Outfitters. This is a little bit of a hike. It's not bad. There's some switchbacks that come down. It's all downhill to the falls, so you get a bit of an aerobic workout going back up, but it is definitely worth the hike. This time of year, the water level's a little low. Normally in a regular season, there would be a lot more water here, but definitely in the spring is a great time to check this out when the magnolias are blooming. Late spring, early summer, the rhododendrons, the magnolias are blooming, so check this one out too.
Coming up, visit another popular and easy access set of falls at High Falls State Park near Jackson, Georgia. But now it's time for some serious fun in a trout stream.
Now, what can we expect to find here? Rainbow?
Well, yeah, there'll probably be rainbows here. There are browns, but they're really hard to catch. Yeah, few and far between, and with the water as low as it is.
Nice pool down there, though.
Yeah, it's a great pool. Just make a random cast up through here, and just keep walking slowly as you go.
Okay.
And there could basically be a fish about anywhere. There you go.
Oh, there he is.
Right.
All right.
Good job.
All right. Come to Papa.
You say, is it a good one?
Oh, Kyle, this is exciting because this is. You said this is a wild fish, and it's a brown. Let's see if I can keep from losing him here. This. Look at that. That is remarkable.
He matches out them very well with his golden colors and his
golden color and those beautiful red spots on the side there following
Isn't it amazing how they're just vivid neon.
Catching a fish like this is really what makes coming out to these rivers so special, and it's really a testament to the management that DNR has done all over the northern streams here. This is a beautiful fish. I'm going to have to release him now and go see if I can find a bigger one.
The Forest Service is the landowner here, and the DNR is responsible for managing resources like the fishery. DNR fisheries biologist Lee Kiefer came along to help explain how these two organizations work together to keep resources like these wild browns healthy.
Our main concern, of course, is habitat quality, and we're lucky that most of our trout water is located on Forest Service lands that are well protected from disturbance that would cause damage to the habitat, such as construction or excessive erosion, those sorts of things. But we are concerned with such things as habitat improvement. A lot of streams are lacking in large woody debris that makes good trout habitat. And so we'll work with the Forest Service biologists and identify stream stretches that lack habitat, and then plan and implement stream improvement projects to improve the habitat. In North Georgia, we have 3 different species of trout. We have the rainbow trout, brown trout, and the brook trout. Now, the rainbow and the brown trout are introduced species. The rainbow came from the western United States about the middle 1880s, and the brown trout came from Europe during the same time period. And they have been stocked continuously in the southeastern mountains since that time. Now, the brook trout is our native salmonid, and it's found in our higher elevation streams, generally above barrier waterfalls where the other trout species don't have access. They don't compete well with other trout, and so in the presence of rainbow and brown trout, they're usually outcompeted and therefore not found in the lower elevation streams. Now, our policy has been not to stock rainbow or brown trout on top of wild brook trout population. In looking at a stream, you have to look at the entire watershed. And the watershed is the land area where rain falls that drains into the stream. So it's a much larger land area than just the corridor that the stream itself occupies. And the stream is the sum total of everything that's in that watershed. So any land disturbing activity, misuse of land will impact the water quality in the stream because the water runs downhill into the stream. So we can't just manage the stream itself, we have to manage the entire watershed. From a water quality standpoint, a forested watershed is by far the best. You have the least amount of runoff and the least amount of sediment coming into the stream.
The beautiful wild brown trout I caught yesterday is just as dependent on a healthy watershed as you and I. In fact, if you live in Atlanta, you should be very interested in our next waterfall destination on the Chattahoochee Wildlife Management Area. We're visiting Horse Trough Falls near the headwaters of the Chattahoochee River, and again, the effect of the drought is apparent.
They say a trend of drought situations usually run 5 years. So if that's true, we're in the 3rd year of the drought, finishing it up. I think we're over 24 inches deficit over the last 2 years. So the water table is low as a whole, and of course it shows coming over the falls right there. And if we go another 2 years, it's going to be really interesting how low the water table may get and how the water supply going downstream to other communities and towns in Atlanta, how it's going to be affected. We had another 5-year drought back in the, I think, the mid-'80s, and I thought it was bad until I saw this drought, and this is really the worst I've ever seen, really in my career and my life. And it's really a scary thought to see how droughts can affect us. And if this continues on, maybe in cycles, then our water sources may, even deplete even more. So it's really a scary situation.
After our morning's hike up to Horse Trough Falls, we spent the afternoon relaxing with Kyle further downstream.
Tell you what.
Isn't this just perfect temperature though?
Tell you what, Kyle, this is hard to beat.
Awesome. All the places we should be able to catch a fish here. This is it. There he is. Big fish.
There you go. That
This
looks like
is a
nice
hog. Got him headed for that tree.
That looks like a submarine.
He's headed for that tree just as hard as he can go.
Yep.
Gotta turn him. Gotta turn him. Oh, he came up.
Oh. That was a nice fish.
There's still some fish over there we hadn't quite gotten to yet. If you look upstream,
oh, there he is.
Don't look upstream. Land the fish.
Yeah, I got that one.
I'm going to grab the net.
I got that one. At least I think I've got him. He's hooked. Oh, man.
Yeah.
He's giving us a show.
A big trout on a dry fly.
That's great. Yeah.
That's as good as it gets.
Yeah, this is great. Now let's see if we can land him. There he is. All right. Look at that.
Nice fish. He can go about 19 inches. Weigh about probably 2.5 to 3 pounds. You grab the handle of the net and I'll handle the fish. Always get my hands wet before I touch him so I don't take any of the slime off of his body. Got some sharp little teeth. Barbless fly just fell right out. Can I hold him up next to you?
Oh, sure.
Now he's gonna start flopping around and fall out of my hands, but we'll have him up for a moment.
Look at that.
That's how. Don't give the poor fish cooties.
That's great. Nice fish.
Waterfalls are one of our most beautiful natural resources, and they can also be very dangerous. As you go on your own waterfall adventures, keep these safety tips in mind. Stay on designated trails. Watch your step. Water and algae can make rocks very slippery. Children should be carefully supervised by an adult. Stay on the trail or overlook when viewing the falls. Do not try to climb the falls. A slip on the rocks could cause serious injury or worse. For more information about the falls we visited today, feel free to visit the District Ranger's office in Clayton or call 706-782-3320 or visit the website at www.fs.us/CONF. Coming up next, travel to Central Georgia's popular and scenic High Falls State Park and get a lesson in geology.
High Falls State Park is one of the state's most popular for several reasons. Its beautiful scenery, terrific facilities for camping and fishing, and its colorful history. Another nice feature at this park is Park Ranger George Smith.
Oh, High Falls State Park is a great place to come visit. No matter where you live in the state of Georgia, we have something unique here that you can come and see. We have 3 hiking trails of different lengths that you can hike in. The uniqueness is that we're in the Piedmont area, and the Piedmont area is a nice blend of different topography. We have the highest waterfall in the Piedmont area, 121-foot elevation drop. We're 1.5 miles off of I-75 at exit 198, so we're easily accessible.
If you're lucky enough to catch George on his busy rounds, ask him about the flood that wiped out the steel bridge that was part of the old Alabama Road. He'll point out parts of the bridge still mangled amid the boulders. He'll also give you a tour of the grist mill, rebuilt in 1866 after being burned by Confederate troops during the war between the states. They were keeping it from the Union soldiers. Ranger Smith would be glad to have you visit.
Georgia State Parks open at 7 a.m. and close at 10 p.m. Now, most park offices don't open till 8 o'clock. And here at High Falls, we'll be glad to give you a map that shows where the hiking trails are and a history of the park and about who we were and why we're a wide spot in the road. And then all trails close at dark. So even though the park doesn't close till 10 p.m., you need to be off all the hiking trails by dark. And that's standard at all Georgia State Parks, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., and trails close at dark.
Ranger Smith and his coworkers had a front row seat, so to speak, during the flood of '94. The terrific power of that flood is clearly seen here, where the entire Tualaga River's course was changed.
What you're seeing is the part of the Tualaga River that in the flood of 1994 changed its course. Everything behind us, all up on there, that was originally forest, just like up on the hill, and the original river beds over on the other side of this little island. And the water just scoured this out down to the rock bed. It was so forceful, it just took every tree, earth, everything in its path that was taken out. We're in the Hollingsville complex, is where how the geologists have mapped this out. And 5% of that complex is made up of High Falls granite. There's something unique about it that is just indigenous to this area, 5% of this whole area around here. And so that's kind of neat to have your own granite. And eventually this will reclaim itself. We might come back 100 years from now and never know that the river did come through here.
Today, High Falls State Park consists of 981 acres of land and 650 acres of lake. The dam was built in approximately 1890 to provide power for the cotton mills in nearby Griffin, Georgia. Through the years, the state acquired all the land and the old structure still standing in what is now High Falls State Park. Today, the lake is one of the most bountiful in Georgia when it comes to crappie, bass, and flathead catfishing.
Presently, we have the second largest crappie, 4 pounds and some odd ounces, that was caught out of the lake. For years, we held the record of the flathead catfish, about 56 pounds, I believe it was. It was broken about 2 or 3 years ago. And the largemouth bass, pounds per acreage, the biologists tell us that we're second.
Though the fishing is terrific here, most people come for one reason: to view these magnificent falls. It's an easy hike from the parking lot, and today with the water so low, the rocks and cascades are even more inviting. But don't be tempted to walk out there. George keeps a close watch on visitors because he knows how dangerous falls can be.
Waterfalls can be very, very dangerous because, number one, you should never be in any water that you can't see the bottom of. And the water in a waterfall is white because it's falling over rocks and picking up oxygen, and you can't see through white water. And anytime you get out in water that is like this, there's the possibility of getting caught in holes and crevices on the rocks that you might have come and at one time went out on the rocks and you had no problem at all. But there was a foot rise in the water and you go back to the same place, the whole complexion of the area is different. On the largest part of the fall itself is a cavity back under there which creates a hydraulic. And unfortunately enough, there's been fatalities at High Falls with people disobeying the rules and going out on top of the falls, falling down, and being sucked up under that hydra, and they drowned. And the last victim, it took us over 4 hours to recover that body due to the high water and the nature of the rock formation there. So waterfalls are to be admired. They're not to be played in. They're not a safe area. We have plenty of places out here at the park where you can come hike, playscapes to have your children play on. Between Memorial Day and Labor Day, the swimming pool is open. Plenty of places to come and enjoy aquatic activities, but stay out of the falls. I wasn't an over fanatic, was I?
Not a bit.
Whether you're an outdoors enthusiast or just an armchair adventurer,
There's 2 pieces of gear that you don't want to forget.
gear up every week for new and exciting experiences next time on Georgia Outdoors.
Who is devoting a great deal of effort and resources to protecting Georgia's environment? The same company that helps maintain the environment inside your home. Georgia Power, proud sponsor of programming on GPTV.